Hey, all right. So it is what is today? Tax day. Oh, it's April 15th. Haha. So I've spent the last few days down in Charleston, South Carolina. I lived there from 92 to 96, and I lived there again from 2016 to 2020, and I am definitely considering moving back. It is probably my favorite place to be. I love Charleston, all the history, the charm, just the French Quarters down in Charleston, and had a really good time. Of course, Bliss Spiritual Co-op in Mount Pleasant. I have now taught Qigong there for 9 years, and I've led the Star Seeds group for the last going on 2 years now, I think. And so, of course, if in case you haven't noticed, and this is what we talked about last night, in the Star Seeds group, and if you haven't noticed, Yahoo, your news feed, CNN, ABC. You have all these like little you click on the video, whatever. Everything is about ETs, UFOs, aliens. Are aliens real? All those things, and I mean, it's in the consciousness everywhere, and it's because they're preparing us. They are preparing us to announce disclosure that there are ETs, that the ETs, UFOs are real. And I've known they're real since I was a kid. I've had I've had countless encounters with ETs. Many of them were not pleasant. They were very invasive and intrusive. And according to Drunvalo, Melchizedek, and others, is that the reason why they interfere with certain beings is because they feel that those beings have the potential to really shift the matrix. Um, and so they do things like implants to alter their vibration, so they don't reach up to their potential. These are, of course, the grays, the Zeta Reticuli, who their challenge is that they really don't have any concept of love. They don't know what love is. So they're very intellectual, but they have no concept of love. And a lot of these abductions, these quote uh, interacting with humans, people talk about having a hybrid is because they felt that in order for their race to continue, they had to get the gene or the concept of love. And that's why you had all these experimentation, because what the Greys were trying to do is they were trying to figure out what love was. And so I've had numerous sessions of removing the implants and energetic distortions and things like that. And a lot of times um, you, you really have to alter their frequency if they try to interfere with you, or if you're quote like attacked, psychically attacked in the dream state, and where you get strong enough to where they try to engage you or hit you with some type of sound frequency that you're able to bend it back and shift it back. But it took many years for me to be able to reach that point. And so anyway, I guess this is what is important, especially if you're a light worker, you're an empath, to be prepared for this, because it could it could really create hysteria on the planet. I mean, people, especially people on the right, um, evangelicals, right-wing thought people, are going to lose their mind, because it's going to completely shatter everything that they've been taught, and it's going to completely challenge everything to the core that they've been taught, and people are going to wonder what the hell is going on. And that's why the light worker, the empath, needs to be so grounded and centered. It's so important that you are focused, and that you're in your consciousness, your awareness, because people are going to freak out. We've already had uh, J.D. Vance come out and say, well, if there's aliens out there, they're probably demons. And it's the same old playbook that Christianity has used for thousands of years. If it's not Jesus, it's just evil, and it must be against us, or it's against God. It's the same old bullshit, same old crap that they've used for thousands of years. Um, that to be afraid of it, and and I know that like people like Dr. Richard Greer have talked about this. It's my understanding that I think Dr. Richard Greer has said publicly that he has written a letter for Trump to say when this happens. Now, you know, the other thing to be mindful of is that playing around with this idea that Dr. Richard Greer has talked about, that Billy Carson has talked about, and many others, that because of reverse engineering and interactions with the ETs, we have these UAVs or UAPs, unidentified aerial, something like that. It's uni, unidentified aerial. Um, He stands right now. So anyway, UFOs, right? So because of reverse engineering and our technology has advanced to some of the levels of the ETs, which the ETs are very concerned about, um, that we that it's I think it's called Project Bluebird or something like that, um, where the United States government would stage an attack from these ships, and you would create this red flag, false flag event where it's actually the reality is it would be our own spaceships, our own um, so ships that we've created, our military has created. And you want to know why we're $37 trillion in debt? It's stuff like that that our government spends money on, and so they would stage this attack, and of course it would unify the entire planet, but for the wrong reasons. And what a way that, I mean, that would be the open doorway to go into a one world order, a new world government, a one world order, to unify, to have all the monies, everything, consolidated into one thing. And I think that's what some people out there want to happen. It's not what I want to happen. I want us to waken up and to remember who we really are. That we are aspects of God, and that we are the divine is within us. And and again, it's not to put fear into people. It's to have people be mindful of what's going on. And of course, I think it was it June 18th. Steven Spielberg's movie is coming out uh, about disclosure. So, and they're real. I mean, so it's all over news feeds about aliens and ATs, and so they're preparing us. And of course, back in 2011, when I was a featured speaker for the Wake Up Now conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the guy's name was Dolan, Richard Dolan, I think, and he did the after disclosure thing. I thought it was phenomenal, talking about when they announced that there's ETs, you know, we will shift from oil dependency to tachyon, to free energy devices, Tesla coils, Tesla devices. We'll find ways to preserve food without all the chemicals and additives, and growing food without all the fertilizers. And so, I mean, a lot of this conflict about oil is to tell us, maybe we don't need the war in Iran. Maybe we don't need to be so dependent on oil anymore. And but again, because of this will be such a threat to people's belief systems. It'll be such a threat to how they think the world should be. It could create mass hysteria. Just the announcement of it, and then I remember Barbara Marciniak in the book Bringers of the Dawn that came out in 92 or 93, 92, said that when they do announce ETs, it would create a shockwave because we have cellular memories of aliens that were not very nice to humans. In fact, we were food to them, and that will jar like a conscious memory, a collective memory. And so I think that's why they're giving us a little bit, and then it'll happen. I don't think there'll be like a I don't think there'll be like just an ET ship that comes over um, the White House, maybe. And I know that Bashar has talked about this, but I've talked about this years ago, and my own private group, the Galactic Response Envoy Team group, that what's really going to happen is that more and more ETs, more and more extraterrestrials are going to start connecting and contacting people like us, people like you and I, on an individual basis. And this will happen throughout all the globe. It'll happen throughout all over the globe, right? Everywhere. And all of a sudden the contactees will, like a light bulb, the lights going like dominoes, you know, and all of a sudden it'll become, like the hundred monkey idea, that when enough people have this experience, and I've had experiences with ETs all my life, it'll create an awakening. And also, be mindful that there will be ETs that will offer us solutions, but behind it is that they want control, or they want more control. So, that's why it's so important to wake up, to be empowered, to acknowledge your own divinity that's within you right now today. And I remember as a kid seeing the ships. You know, I'm from Iowa, and Iowa City, and you see the ships, and they'd be down the street or they'd be above you. And I would run into the duplex I was living at when I was growing up, and Mom, they're here, come out, come out, come out. She would never see them. In fact, a lot of people don't see them because you have to be at a certain frequency or a certain awareness, or to get your attention. They talk about this. The Native Americans said that when the Spaniards first came, on the coast, a lot of the natives didn't see the ships because there was no reference point to their consciousness as to what that was. And it must have been 2016 or 2017 when I was still living in Sedona, and I was working at Cucina Rustica, and we had just gotten done, and we were heading back to have a drink at the Full Moon Saloon, which is the bar behind Cucina Rustica there in Sedona, the village of Oak Creek. And there was a couple that also had just gotten done having dinner, and all of a sudden right above us were the two like orange cigar shaped UFOs that are more common over like Mexico and Mexico City. And they were like directly above us. And this guy's like, no, 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 this is not happening. I cannot believe this. No, this is not real. Oh, no, no, no. He's like, I gotta have a drink. And so he ran into the Full Moon Saloon, not knowing what to think, what happened, because and sometimes they do make things very visible to us. So again, this is just, if you're a light worker, starseed, it's really important to anchor yourself. It's really important to go within. It's really important to get centered, because this stuff is going to come out and people are going to be turning to you, and you're going to have to really be level, focused, and calm, because it could set off quite quite the chaos and fun anyway. Not that we're not in chaos already anyway. So Anyway, but know that, and also know that as we get into 2026 and into 2027, end of part of this year, first of next year, there will be millions of individuals who will experience contact, direct contact. Because I think this is how this is really going to happen now, that people will be contacted, and then that you'll be able to then it'll create the mass consciousness, like the 100 monkey theory, that when enough people do something or know something a certain way, it automatically gets done everywhere. And the thing about ETs and aliens, my God, I mean, we don't need to spend billions of dollars on NASA to look for ETs. I mean, the evidence of ETs is all over this planet. The hieroglyphs that depict beings from other time, other spaces, other dimensional realities. The Bible talks about the Nephilim. It talks about the Anunnaki one in the Bible called the Ankh, the Ankh, A-N-K, Ankh. So the giants, in those days were the giants. And the giants saw that the wives of men were ferrets in the book of Genesis. It's like the evidence is overwhelming that there are other, and I just don't get this. The universe is so vast, so unknown, so there's just way too many galaxies out there to really think that we are the only intelligent life form. I mean, if that's God, God's really dumb, to create us. I mean, again, the evidence is overwhelming, and there's been countless stories of encounters with ETs, and I know personally from my own life about them. I was thinking last night or Monday night at Starseed Zone in Mount Pleasant. I was thinking about these beings that were like tortoise beings, big turtles. Just kept wanting to hug me. They just kept laughing. They were filled with so much love and joy, and that's what they were trying to get me to remember was, the love and joy part, and the reports of people having sex, or to create these hybrids. I've had sexual encounters with female aliens that they were like in the movie X-Men, Mystique, something along that. I mean, it's interdimensional. It's not, it's not in the reality, but and it happened many times when I was probably in my 30s, I think. But it was like in the dream state, because you go into other realities or parallel realities. So it's happening. Disclosure is happening, and it's really to learn discernment. Because unfortunately, I do think that there will be certain groups of ETs that will really want to promise solutions to all of our problems, but behind that is wanting more control of the earth, because the earth is a gem. It's a gemstone. It's a real gift. I mean, scientists have estimated it's like a 1 in 400 trillion possibility that you are a human being, that you've incarnated. And I know that there are millions and millions of beings lined up to be here. They're lined up wanting to be here to see this awakening that's unfolded. And it is unfolding. We see all the chaos in the planet. We forget, for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. There are beings that are helping us evolve. There are beings on the other side that are helping us awaken. And as you awaken, you offset the negativity of, one light worker can offset the negativity of 1 million people. And so, if you take that theory where the number of the good is 144,000, and you multiply that by 1 million, each, the odds are in favor that we can really do this. We can really co-descend. So anyway, all right. Yeah, disclosure is happening, and it's here. Just don't get caught up in the insanity. Go within, right? Always go within. All right, Mark Patterson, that's mark-patterson.com, mark-patterson.com. If you don't put that dash in, you'll get a famous jeweler in New York City. All right, y'all have a good day. Blessings.